Hi, Jen.
Hi, Ricky. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks so much for joining me.
Of course. Where am I talking to you? Where are you?
I'm all the way in Boston, Massachusetts.
Right on. What a great city.
Have you been here before?
I've been to Boston many times, yes.
Yeah, very historic. And I love that it's, at least from my European friends, they all tell me that Boston is probably the most European type city in America.
Yeah, well, you got so many Irish there too, right?
That is true, yes. So many
See,
pubs and
so I feel
bars.
right. I feel right at home when I'm there.
I bet you do.
That's good.
And you're in California?
I am in Los Angeles. Yeah, it's
Uh,
probably a little bit warmer here than it is in Boston right now.
I
But
know, yes. That's why I was just going to say, I wish I were in California right now.
yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's chilly for California, but it's still like I don't know, 61, 62
Oh,
degrees,
gosh.
which is
For me, that's
sorry.
summer.
I know, right? I know you're hating me right now. You're going, shut up.
Yeah,
It's, it's,
but very excited to chat with you.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, from the first two singles you've released, You Don't Love Me and Fighting Heart, I really love
Yeah.
them so far. So,
Thank you, Jen.
yeah, and I heard that your good friend Joe Elliott he's part of on the album a little bit, or what? Can you
Yeah,
tell
no,
me,
he's on.
like, how did he
He
collaborate?
he sings on the title track with backing vocals on the title track when Life is Hard and Fast. And Joe and I go way back. We've been friends. I was actually Joe's best man at his wedding, so we're pretty tight. And he's I've worked with Joe on and off over the years. I've toured with Def Leppard. And Joe actually produced my first two solo records quite a few years ago. And he's my friend, and listen, when a man that sold 120 million records offers you advice, you're going to listen every time. And he's a great sounding board for me. And whenever I'm working on something, I'll be sending him ideas and he'll tell me what he thinks. He always shoots me straight. And I really value his opinion. And he's been a really good friend to me, not just that's the most important thing. And the fact that he plays in a kick-ass rock and roll band is great as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw them probably about 5 years ago up in New
Mm-hmm.
Hampshire, and they
Mm-hmm.
still put on a good show, I have to say.
Oh no, it's fantastic. Yeah, it really is.
And I mean, you've been in the industry for a very long time as well. Is there anything that
Forever.
is there anything you miss about the industry from your early days that you wish would kind of come back? Or
Yeah,
do you
what?
kind of,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, or do you kind of like where it's, headed right now?
I mean, look, change is inevitable. The biggest thing that changed music is computers and everything becoming digital. That revolutionized music. You know, um, it's good and bad. It's good because we're having this conversation now because of it.
Exactly, yeah, right?
During a pandemic, you know, and it's think how much harder this pandemic would be without that technology, without that access to all these great online shows that have been going on from artists and stuff like that. That's good. I think there's a certain mystique that music had before the internet that I loved. To see what your favorite rock and rollers look like, you had to buy the magazine or you had to catch them on TV. Now you can see what they had for breakfast.
I know.
And I don't want to know that. I don't care. And rock and roll had a mysticism and a vibe to it that I think sadly the internet has killed. And I think that's the main thing that I miss most about it, that it had that. You had to make a bit of an effort. If you wanted to see somebody, you had to go to a show or buy a magazine or catch them on a music show on TV. It required a bit of detective work. And you're like, oh my God, they look like that or they're wearing that. It's too accessible and too easy now to find out everything. And the mystery's kind of gone out of it. And I feel that's the biggest thing that I miss.
Absolutely. And for me, I kind of grew up mostly with the internet, but I feel like, back in the 60s and 70s, to discover music, you had to go to gigs, go to
Yeah,
local shows, whereas these days, so many venues are shutting down because people just access music online.
sure,
They
sure.
feel like
Yeah,
they don't have to go to
we're
music
becoming very
shows to play
lazy,
music.
very lazy, very lazy as a species. I mean, we don't really have to go anywhere and do anything anymore. We can just sit at home and that's been great during a pandemic, obviously, because of what it is. But, you know, people just order everything from their couch now, even their food. And that's not a good thing, you know, because as creatures, we're social creatures. We interact with each other. And I feel that's a dying art. You know, and I think it's like computers will never take the place of real live music in a club or in a venue. You can't recreate. Online shows are great and they serve a purpose, but you can't recreate that. You can't recreate that feeling, that buzz, that interaction with the crowd, with the people. You know, the sweat, and the noise, the smells, the sun. It's all a physical thing, you know. And I think making records is like that. You can have the best technology in the studio, but you can't recreate what a person would put into a tune when they're playing their instrument. You know, you can't recreate the human soul. It's unique.
That is very true. And with the album title, is that kind of referring to before coronavirus, you know, when times were hard and fast?
No. I mean, it's funny. It kind of could be because it's kind of prophetic. The album was written way before the virus was here. The album was recorded back in 2019, Jen. So it was done in April 2019. So I had no idea this was coming. It's just weird that sometimes you read back lyrics and you kind of go, wow, was I predicting the future there? But, you know, it's just the way it works out. It's funny. No, that was me, and a friend of mine wrote that song. I actually wrote that with a friend of mine, a guy called Sam Robinson, that I grew up with in Belfast in Ireland. And we just wrote about it when we were kids. It was about when we were kids in the 70s and 80s, growing up in Belfast, and the life that we had and the dreams and the aspirations that we had, pre-internet, pre-cell phone. And it's just really a reflection on that. And life just seemed to be crazy. And I just remember I was outside all the time. I was never in the house. I was always playing outside, even if it was raining or it was cold. I was kicking a soccer ball, or I was, you know, playing with my friends or getting in trouble, or, you know, it was good. It was a good feeling to look back on that and remember it.
Oh yeah, I miss my childhood days too. And you know, when you're a kid, you want to grow up, but then once you do, you're like,
yeah,
times were so much simpler.
Sure they were. I don't necessarily miss them. I mean, I'm glad they happened, but I don't long. I'm not like, oh God, I wish I was still, you know, 16. I definitely don't wish I was still 16. I'm just going to say it was sort of, I don't know, things were just like we talked about. Things were, you wanted to buy a record, you had to get a bus into town and you meet your friends, and it was more social. And, you know, it was just seemed to be a bit of a golden age back then, and something that maybe we've kind of lost a little bit, you know?
That is very true. But, you know, at least we have fond memories to look back on. And
look, it's all about making memories. That's what life's all about. It's about making memories.
And the song Fighting Heart, you say it's a celebration of how music and the arts can kind of inspire us and motivate us. Is there a certain song or movie or book?
Oh, there's so many.
That has kind of
there's so many. I mean, music, I'm consumed by music. I'm consumed by literature. I love movies. You know, but certain artists have inspired me. You know, Thin Lizzy, Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. Growing up in Ireland, obviously, a lot of the punk bands like Motorhead when I was a kid. These bands inspired me to get off my backside and pick up a guitar and do something. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And, you know, literature as well. There's so many great writers. I'm you know, I like the classics. I like Roger Kipling. I like, you know, Steinway. I like being Irish. I like, you know, Yeats and you know, so I just find all that stuff invigorating and just, I don't know, there's so much to learn, you know. It's like you soak it in like a sponge. And I guess I wrote Fighting Heart that's what keeps you strong. It certainly keeps me strong anyway. It keeps me motivated.
Yeah, and actually I saw that you were inspired, or you kind of were a fan of MC5 growing up.
Oh man, yeah.
It's funny,
very
they're
much so.
from my home state of Michigan. And
right, of course.
My friend just maybe a month ago introduced me to their music, and I'm like, I had no idea they were from Michigan.
And isn't this, I mean, talk about a band ahead of their time.
No, I really.
I mean, musically, they were just so ahead of their time. I think, you know.
Yeah, I think it
But
was
yeah,
Kick Out the Jam that he showed me. That's a cool song.
that's the one. That's awesome. I mean, they're Detroit's finest, man. You know, Motor City was their home, and I just, you know, I find them so inspirational. And you know, some of their politics are a little bit naive looking back, but at the time there was there was a lot going on. There was a lot of racial disharmony. You know, sadly, nothing's really changed there, and they spoke out against it and stood up at a time when a lot of people weren't, and I really admire them for that. And you know, their whole rock and roll ethos in their shows are just so high energy and so passionate and so powerful. This is, you know, you're talking, you know, 8, 9, 10 years before punk rock even happened. So they're just way ahead of their time. And Wayne Kramer, just his guitar playing. I mean, he played guitar and he moved like James Brown at the same time. It's phenomenal to watch, and just so inspiring. I actually got to meet Wayne Kramer, you know, it's quite a few years ago now, but it was sort of, I think it was maybe 2006, 2007. I met him backstage at Cheap Trick show. And he was just awesome. He was really cool, you know, and so he kind of lived up to everything I hoped he was going to be, and it was great to meet him.
Oh yeah, that's always a plus when you meet your heroes, so to say, and they're actually cool.
And you know, 99% of them are. I mean, I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of my musical, you know, people that inspired me over the years, and they've all been pretty cool. I mean, I can't really think of anybody where I thought, oh, my guy's, or he or she, or you know, they're a bit of a dick or whatever, you know, sorry for want of a better word. But, you know, most of the time people are as you find them, they're cool, you know.
Absolutely. And so there's 11 tracks on the album. Is there anything that you can kind of describe about it without giving too much away?
You know, it's a very straightforward, anthemic, loud guitar rock and roll album. Huge melodies, huge choruses. I mean, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool rocker. That's what I like. There's no fuss. There's no 10-minute, you know, weird songs with weird singers, just time changes. It's just big in-your-face rock and roll, and I'm very proud of that. It was great working with Keith Nelson, who I co-produced it with. Keith, people know Keith from being in the band Buckcherry, and we get some great special guests on there. Like, like Joel, we got Andy Taylor on there from Duran Duran and Power Station, and we got Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses on there as well. So that was real thrilled to get those guys to play on the record, and I'm just, you know, I'm really thrilled with it. I'm really proud of it. I can't wait for people to hear it, and yeah.
No, it sounds like it's going to be a killer album, and you know, from, like I said, from the first two singles.
And the most important guest of all, Jen, is a duet with my daughter on one of the tracks.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
So that was a proud dad moment for me, and a song called "Time Don't Seem to Matter," and she sings on that, and she did a great job. So I was really proud.
That's awesome. How old is she?
She is 13 now. She was 11 when she recorded the track.
Oh, okay, very nice. And is she hoping to follow in your footsteps?
I think she'd like to. She's very musical. She's great. You know, she's a really good singer. She's playing a couple of instruments, you know, violin in school and ukulele and a little bit of keyboards. And is always listening to music, is always singing. So I would be thrilled if she did.
Oh,
maybe she'll let me manage. Maybe she'll let me manage her.
Oh yeah, right. No, I think
probably not. I don't want my dad managing me. No, that's embarrassing, you know.
Well, no, that's awesome that she's on the album. Very cool.
Thank you.
No, I think it's important to have music in your life, especially at an early age, you know.
Yeah, you know, and we didn't really push her into it, you know, at all. I mean, we you know, we have music, and my wife works in the music industry as well, so there's always music on in the house. There's always music playing, but pretty much 24/7. So I think she was very aware of it. We certainly weren't like, listen to this and play that, and you know, we just let them dig it, and if they're into it, find their own way, you know. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's rewarding that when she comes in, and she gave us a Christmas list last week, and I was so blown away. You know, she wanted like 10 albums, and she wanted them all in vinyl.
Oh wow! You know, vinyl is coming back.
Old school. So, and I thought it was like that's amazing. You know, so that was really cool that she
sounds like she's on the right track. The right
so
path.
So far, she's got a ways to go, but she's getting there.
Well, I also wanted to ask you about the upcoming show dates you have.
Yeah.
Spring and April, is that right?
Fingers crossed,
Yeah,
Jen.
fingers crossed, definitely.
that we can do this. Obviously, today was an historic day when the vaccine has been passed, and I think that's going to, get us over and get us through this horrible year. It'll take a while, obviously, for it to take effect, but you have to have hope, and I think I had to book something and keep my fingers crossed and just work towards it. Hopefully they'll go ahead. No, if they don't, we'll just move the dates. It's no big deal, but I think everybody's desperate to go to a show. I'm certainly desperate to play. I'll start in the UK, and then the plan is to the rest of the world for the rest of the year, some shows in the States as well, and mainland Europe and beyond.
Yes, fingers crossed. I think everybody's itching to see live music again and
absolutely
break out of this cabin fever.
Absolutely. Cool.
Yeah. Have you gone back to the UK since COVID, or not yet?
I haven't, unfortunately, no. Just the travel restrictions and
right.
Yeah, and you just don't want to go over there and give it to your family over there or bring it back, or it's just not worth the risk. We were due to go to Ireland. We go back every other year to Ireland to see my family and my relatives, and this is the year we were supposed to go back for Christmas, but sadly, we can't. But we'll go next year. It's okay. It's like, hey, as long as everybody's safe and well, and has some food and a roof over their head, it's okay. We'll get through this.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Keep your health for the long run.
Yeah, we're lucky ones. There's a lot of people really hurting, and I feel really bad for them. And I'm lucky that, like I said, we're okay and we're healthy, and I'm counting my blessings at the minute.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Well, Ricky, I really appreciate your time chatting with me.
It's been a pleasure, Jen. Thank you so much.
And everyone needs to check out the album when it drops. Is it February?
February 19th.
February 19th. Awesome.
Who's on that? That's it. I gotta ask you before you go. Who's on that poster? That's Freddie Mercury. Wow.
Yes.
That's a cool poster.
The one and only Freddie Mercury.
Do you like the stuff with Adam Lambert? I think it's incredible. I think he does an incredible job.
I actually saw him with Queen, Brian May and Roger Taylor a couple years back, and obviously no one can replace Freddie, but
of course no, but you don't expect that, but it's still a great show, right?
Yeah, he still puts on a good show. He has great stage presence. His voice is phenomenal.
Did you watch the movie?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed the movie. I could point out the historical inaccuracies in the film.
Right. So you're a super uber Queen fan, right?
Yeah. I'm not one of the bandwagon fans.
Well, listen, hey, no better band to be an uber fan of. They're amazing, so that's killer.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit Hollywood, but that's fine. That's okay. But it was really good, and I thought the guys in the band were incredible. I mean, I thought they really looked like the guys in the band, I thought it was amazing.
I think Brian May's wife even said, like, when she looked at the actor portraying Brian, she was like, wow, he looks just like
no, it was cool.
Back in the day.
It was amazing. Well, cool. Well, thank you, Jen. You be safe. Happy holidays.
Yeah, likewise. Same to you. Thank you again for chatting, and take care.
Of course.
Hope to see you in Boston.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.